So we got engaged on New Year's Eve, so December 31st, 2021. And about 3 weeks later, we already started looking at houses because we want a backyard wedding this upcoming summer. And on our first round of looking at houses, we put an offer in on a house that we saw that day. Yeah.
So what we can do is, if they're downstairs, we could go up
Mm-hmm.
and like flip flop. Where's the pool? Looks like Arizona.
It does, yeah, we're used to this.
I know, it really does. This is a great room. And you could put a table on one side and couch and chairs on the other if you wanted to. We got our shoes on and walk outside again. Great fence, nice front.
Yeah, so we put in an offer in at $535,000, and they came back and asked us, would you be willing to go up to $540,000? And we looked at each other and said, yeah, like we'll get this dream house of ours for $5,000 more. Like, sure, we'll do it. And we responded and said, yes, like, we'll accept $540,000. And then, so we went to sleep that night. And the next morning I woke up like a little earlier than usual, checking my phone. And then I'm like waiting to see if we got the house. And then I hear that they went with another offer. And so when they finally closed, we checked to see what it sold for, and it sold for $540,000. So we don't know why, but we lost. So some things I liked about the house were it had an upstairs master bedroom, and it also had upstairs laundry. Like that was one of our like big things that we loved. And then the sunroom was beautiful. It was the perfect beer garden, hangout room. Like it was like partially outside, but not. It was like almost added more square footage in a way, but the actual square footage of the house was a little under 3,100, and the acreage was about half an acre. So on our second round of looking at houses, I found my favorite house, and of course it was the one that was the most expensive, but it was beautiful. It was in Waxhaw, which is like 40 to 45 minutes outside of downtown Charlotte. I hadn't been there before, but I was a little worried that it was kind of too far away. They also have a downtown area, like downtown Waxhaw, which is like a little historic district with a cute little main street. It was somewhere that I could definitely see myself living. So this home had a screened porch. Another big selling point was the built-in bookshelves in the living room. And then my favorite thing was the bonus room on the third level. It had its own bathroom, and it was a cool guest suite. The home was listed for $585,000 by OfferPad, who was actually very hard to get a hold of. We are going to check it out again. We're sneaking and looking at the back. So third house is the charm, right? So on the same day that we saw the Waxhaw house, we also saw this other house we called the Crown Vista house. And it took us a few days of thinking about it because the house did have some immediate things that were concerning to us. And on Valentine's Day, we were talking and somehow we built each other up, and our group think led us to say, oh, you know what? Like, that might be worth it. Like, we can like fix up some things, like do our own renovations, like our own style on it. Like, let's put in an offer. And we put in an offer. The house was $520,000. We put in like $500,000 or $505,000, and they countered with $517,000. And by this point, we were already at the third house, and we thought, screw it, like let's just accept the $517,000. And we got into it. Third house was the charm. The third house the charm?
No.
What happened?
Oh boy, with Crown Vista? Well, so we first went and saw it a long time ago, and we weren't very impressed. I mean, it was one of the first houses that we actually went and saw, so I guess we had really high expectations. And so we saw a bunch of other houses, and then we kind of came back to that one and realized, if we did a few things to it and we fixed it up, it would actually be really nice. So we decided to actually go pursue that one, and we made an offer. It was accepted.
Our first offer that was accepted.
And then we had an inspection, and all sorts of things started coming up. There was problems with mainly the crawl space and like the exterior backside of the house. They just didn't take very good care of this house, so it just had all sorts of like water damage and all sorts of stuff going on with the crawl space in the windows. There was just wood rot like all over the house, and we had a contractor go out there and gave us a quote of $170,000 that it would take to repair, which obviously is just insane. So we had to, go ahead and negotiate with them to see if we can get that price down, and they wouldn't budge really. They eventually said, okay, we'll go all the way down to 505, which still is just nowhere near where we needed to be. So we kept looking elsewhere, and we sent them termination papers. We were going to terminate the deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so after we sent them the papers, then they came back and said, oh, actually, we'll do 490, which still is too high. So
Too much of a headache, too.
And like, do we really want to get into that? Do we really want to get a project house that we're going to have to do all these repairs
not fun projects on?
Yeah, not fun projects, like to make the house livable, basically. And so, we thought about it, and it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, the things we did like is it had like high vaulted ceilings. It was on a golf course. It was in a really nice area. It was only 20 minutes from downtown Charlotte, close to Lake Norman. So it had some good things about it, but it turned out to be a headache. And so when we finally got the answer on that, we moved on to our fourth house, which we will cover in our next video, the fourth and fifth actually, but we did find our dream house.